Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there. Pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe, may you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. And I will stand upon my watch, and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS, are those spiritual watchmen, standing upon their watchtowers, reading the scriptures and watching the news, and filtering the news through the scriptures to go out and prophesy the words of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, as it's about to say in verse 2. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. The men of the Lord going out onto the highways and byways to preach this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this online, that he may run that readeth it. These video epistles reaching the elect of the nation of Israel, the Israelites consisting of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathen nations, hearing the words of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi through the prophets, and doing whatever you can to stay in the good graces of your power, so you can have that protective hedge over you during Jacob's trouble and be saved from all these great calamities, death, destruction, and judgment that's quickly coming our way. And the prophets are also a prophesying to the wicked of our people who are hard-headed and refuse to return under their power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, and you heathen nations, telling you that you're about to be judged for the iniquity you've been committing. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And hey, our apostles and elders have been out prophesying this word for over 30 years. And hey, their apostles and elders have been out longer than that. So it may seem that this word and these prophecies have been taken their sweet time to come to their fulfillment. But as it says, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Every single prophecy in these scriptures will come to pass, and nothing will happen to stop biblical prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. And the major prophecy that we're waiting for right now is the mandatory implementation of the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18, the MOTB being the RFID/NFC, MICROCHIPIMPLANT. And in this video, I'm going to go into some information just to show that that prophecy is not tarrying, and it's quickly coming to pass. Apostle Tahar has deemed 2023 to be the year, the hopeful year that all prophecies are fulfilled. And this may very well be the year that all prophecies are fulfilled, and Yahawashi Hamashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, makes a second coming to put an end to this rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly the biblical Edomites, or the so-called white people, save the elect of the nation of Israel, and begin establishing the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, but whether it's this year or not, we can clearly see that our salvation is nearer than when we believed. So like we always tell you, sincere Akim Nakwat out there, now more than ever is not the time to be lackadaisical out here. You should be doing everything you can to stay in the good graces of your power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, so you can hope to have that protective hedge over you and be safe from these calamities of Jacob's trouble, and ultimately see salvation being the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven. But now let's get into this information. And the first bit of information I'll be going to is on foxbusiness.com, a mainstream reputable news outlet, and the title of the article is Central Bank Digital Currencies Are Coming, Whether Countries Are Ready or Not. And it was published on January 16th of this year. The game-changing development could have a profound impact on the banking system, but few people still understand it. And these central bank currencies, or CBDCs, are just a stepping stone towards the eventual rollout and mandatory implementation of the MOTB. And what we've seen over the past couple of years, beginning towards the end of 2019 with this whole C19 situation, has fast-tracked the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. Because what did we see during it? Social spacing and a push for contactless payments and digital currencies. The elites want a cashless digital society to where all your transactions and really all your movements in society are tracked and traced. And if you do anything to buck up against the system, or the government deems your actions against the system, hey, they'll simply cut off your funds and you won't be able to do anything in society without it. You'll be seen as a social pariah. And we can already see them testing out these type of actions over in China as well with the social credit score system. People buy things that the government doesn't deem appropriate. They look at particular things online, or they say particular things online, and their social credit score goes down and they're not able to get a job, travel abroad, or even buy housing or an apartment. And that's coming to the United States of America, and a social credit system along with your biometric data and your banking information and even carbon credits, because they're pushing for that as well, is all going to be tied and centralized onto that CHIP IMPLANT. Central bank digital currency doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, but you might want to get used to saying it. These so-called CBDCs, or digital versions of dollars, yuan, euros, yen, or any other currency, are coming, say those who study them. And we don't need those who study them to tell us that they're coming. We know through biblical prophecy that these things are coming, and the end goal is that CHIP, though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come, it will not tarry. And depending on how they are designed and rolled out, their impact on the banking system could be profound. 114 countries are exploring digital currencies, and their collective economies represent more than 95% of the world's GDP, according to the Atlantic Council's Central Bank Digital Currency Tracker. Some countries, including China, India, Nigeria, and the Bahamas, have already rolled out digital currencies. And over in Trinidad, a brother did a video where he went into the Trinidadian central bank and showed that they had a C-hip with the injector that they used to put it into you in a glass case in their central bank, with a description that pretty much said, is this the future of banking, the future of buying and selling? Hey, they're putting it out there in your faces. Others, like Sweden and Japan, are preparing for possible rollouts. And hey, in Sweden, they've already massively rolled out C-hips. A lot of people in the country have them. And earlier this year, earlier this year, but definitely last year, you had a Swedish company dealing with C-hips saying that you could get your C19 digital information on it to show whether you've gotten the juice or not. Hey, that's going to be tied to it as well. All your pestilence, PASSPORTSs on it, and whether you've got the juice or not. And what did we see when they were heavily pushing for people to get juiced up? Hey, if you don't got the juice, you can't come into this business. You can't buy or sell. If you don't have the juice, you may lose your job. That was all just a dry run for the main event, the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. The U.S. is studying the issue and has run trials of various technologies to enable a digital currency, although Fed Chair Jerome Powell has indicated the U.S. central bank has no plans to create one and won't do so without the direction from Congress. And this is the very same guy that said, "Hey, don't worry about inflation. It's transitory." Well, what does he have to say about it now? And best believe that the U.S. is going to roll out a digital dollar. You just had a report come out by the DDP, or the Digital Dollar Project, which is a so-called nonprofit organization that said that the U.S. needs to play catch up with these other countries in instituting a digital currency, or else they'll fall behind and may lose clout and control to other countries like China. Debates about the necessity, utility, and potential pros and cons of digital currencies are often confusing and confused, in part because every country rolling out a digital currency is doing it in its own way. But that's the main point. Every country is doing it because the higher ups in these different countries rub shoulders with the elites and are on board with their agenda to push for the rollout of CBDCs and eventually CHIPS, all a part of their GREAT RESET, that fourth industrial revolution, their NW0, the digital cashless society. Hey, where have all these big power players been? They've been in Davos, Switzerland, for the meeting in Davos with the WEF, or the World Economic Forum, where they plan out all their agendas that they're going to push for the next couple of years. And best believe they're talking about these CBDCs and that CHIP. And I did a video the other day showing that they're also talking about combating misinformation and disinformation online, which best believe they consider this word to be, because as I said in that video, this word is bringing about, the preaching of this word is bringing about these prophecies and the end of these heathens, chiefly these Edomites of societies. So they're about to pull out all the stops to demonize this word and take it off the internet and take the men of the Lord off the highways and byways. Generally, however, CBDCs can be roughly divided into two types: those designed for use by financial institutions and those designed for use by the general public. And best believe they're all going to be under one basket when the system is fully implemented. There's going to be no difference between the public or the private sector, the central banks, and the average citizen. But I'm going to skip this section right here and go to where it says question of control. At this point, the average person is probably wondering why, in a world in which billions of people have become accustomed to paying for things with electronic payment systems already, anyone needs a digital version of their currency. Hey, it's because these elites want this. They want total control. The answer to that question depends on the motivations of the central banker, analyst, or academic you ask. Many who study digital currencies argue that at the most basic level, a digital currency is all about control. Bingo! The rise of cryptocurrencies, which are another form of digital money, but one that isn't controlled by a government or other central authority, and the potential of one nation's digital currency to eat away at the dominance of others has driven interest in official digital currencies. And best believe that the powers that be, the elites, are behind these other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum or those other cryptocurrencies as well. They put those systems out there to dip their toes in the waters, so to speak, to get people used to the idea of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies. So when they roll out the official central bank CBDCs, hey people, hey, they'll have no problems with using it, and really they won't have a choice but to use it because everything else is going to get crashed. Fiat currencies, these other cryptocurrencies, you name it. And these different governments are already putting regulations in place to hamper down on the private use of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, so people will be funneled into using the official CBDC versions. Real quick, this is an article from RT.com titled EU or European Union to tighten regulations on cryptocurrency. Crypto service providers will be forced to report transaction data to tax authorities. The European Commission, or EC, is planning to combat tax fraud and evasion in the crypto sector by making all digital asset service providers report transactions involving customers residing in the EU. Hey, but I thought these cryptocurrencies were all about privacy. These were going to be the means to which the people were going to wrestle control away from the central bankers. Give me a break. A mechanism to force companies outside of the bloc to disclose user holdings is currently being developed. According to the EC, tax authorities currently lack proper information about the gain of crypto holders, limiting the tax revenues derived from the sector. The proposed rules, known as the 8th Directive on Administrative Cooperation, DAC 8, seek to target billions of euros in taxes from crypto assets stashed abroad. According to EC estimates, member states lost 93 billion euros, $97.8 billion in 2020 in VAT revenues, a quarter of which can be conservatively attributed to fraud. The cover of anonymity, the fact that there are more than 9,000 different crypto assets currently available, and the inherently digital nature of the trade mean that many crypto asset users that are making huge profits fall under the radar of national tax authorities. The European Commissioner for Economy, Paolo Gentiloni, said in a statement on Thursday, adding that this is not acceptable. Moreover, the EU's executive arm has proposed extending the reporting obligations of financial institutions to cover e-money and digital currencies. The proposal, which comes in line with new reporting rules, will need the unanimous approval of the bloc's 27 member states. It is expected to come into force in January 2026. Hey, but with the way things are looking, looks like we don't have until 2026. Remember, 2023 was again deemed by Apostle Tahar to be the hopeful year all prophecies are fulfilled, so our salvation is nearer than when we believed. Things are going to speed up at an even more faster rate than they are right now. Hey, this devil knows that he has but a short time, as it says in Revelation 12, verse 12, so he's about to come down in great wrath to fulfill his NW0. But again, that article just shows that there is no fighting against the system with cryptocurrencies. It's all a part of the bigger agenda by these elites to implement these CBDCs and ultimately have them on that CHIP IMPLANT, where you won't be able to do anything in society without it. And if you buck up against the system, hey, they're just going to turn it off and you're through. There's a worry that if we don't launch a digital currency in the US or Europe, China will set all the standards for them, and then we'll be at a disadvantage, says Megan Green, global chief economist at the risk and financial advisory firm Kroll. Also, digital currencies like crypto really scared the bejesus out of central bankers. What central bankers and other interested parties like the Biden White House, which in a September report outlined the possibilities of a digital US dollar, fear is the potential of cryptocurrencies to wrest control of the creation and transfer of money from central banks, leaving them without the tools they currently have for preventing their respective economies from running too hot or too cold. And that's just the cover story. And them saying that private cryptocurrencies, hey, run the risk of destabilizing the system. It's just them justifying themselves and putting regulations on them, even though they're behind them to begin with, and further pushing forward their agendas to implement central bank digital currencies. All of these threats remain entirely hypothetical for now, says Eswar Prasad, an economist at Cornell University. In his book, The Future of Money, he outlines the other reasons that policymakers give for wanting to create digital currencies. I'm going to skip that and read this last little part here. On the other hand, the potential downsides of a digital currency, even one initially intended for only the most benign purposes, could be profound, says Dr. Prasad. But there is the obvious issue of privacy. A digital currency could allow governments to track every transaction a person makes, no matter how minute. And that's the point. The powers that be want complete control. Again, that social credit system. You say anything against the system, you look at illegal things online, or you buy contraband, they'll know it and they'll cut your funds off. With your carbon credits, you buy too much meat in a week, which they'll know through your digital transactions, they'll cut off your funds so you won't be able to buy any more than your allotted meat rations for the week, or you won't be able to buy gas to travel any further than how far they want you to travel. Look up something called 15-minute cities, which they're talking about pretty much smart cities to where everything's close, and you'll be penalized if you travel to any place that's outside of the 15-minute range of your location. This is a level of transparency that would be a powerful disincentive. This level of transparency would be a powerful disincentive to using these currencies for crime or fraud, but it could also open the door to new kinds of social control, especially in countries with already scant protection for human rights. For example, says Dr. Prasad, a government could make it impossible to spend the digital currency on things the ruling party deems problematic, like alcohol or pornography. The government also could make transacting with certain people difficult or impossible. China already has a social credit system that ranks citizens algorithmically and punishes them in various ways. That's it with this article. Now let's get into some of these precepts. And this is one you sincere Akim and Akwat should know very well by now. Revelation chapter 13, verses 16. And he calls Athal, that he being the elite rulers of the planet right now, who are Edomites, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Merovingians, the Gettys, the Massimos, the Aldriches, you name it, behind the scenes, pushing for this digital cashless society, these CBDCs, ultimately these CHIPs. And he calls Athal, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, everyone in society from all walks of life to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, that RFID/NFC, CHIP IMPLANT, and that no man might buy or sell, get a job, travel abroad, do anything in society, save he that had the charagma or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Social credit scores and carbon credits. You do or say anything against society, your credit score goes down, and they cut off your CHIP and your access to your digital funds to where you won't be able to buy or sell or do anything without it. And if you don't get the CHIP during the mandatory implementation, you're already going to be X'd out of society. You're going to be a pariah. And it's eventually going to get so severe out here during this mandatory implementation that people will be faced with being put to death for not getting it. Up in verse 15, and he, that he again being the elites, had power to give life unto the image of the BEAST. And the image of the BEAST are the financial, political, and military aspects of this BEAST system that we're currently living in. The last leg of the fourth BEAST in Daniel chapter 2, Those iron toes mixed with miry clay, which is the reincarnated Roman Empire, the NATO-EU alliance that the US is a part of, and that MARK is a major aspect of the image of the BEAST. That the image of the BEAST should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the BEAST should be killed, point blank, period. Hey, we're coming into some very serious times, Akim. And you few sincere Akwat out there, this devil's about to come down in great wrath because he knoweth that he hath but a short time to implement his system, demonize the word, and take out those that don't want to follow after his system. But hey, we know that whatever our lot is, as long as we stay firm to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai and don't give in to Esau's system, hey, we're going to be of that elect number, the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven. But now I'm going to go to Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16, just to further back up that Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, because all these prophecies will come to pass and nothing will happen to keep these prophecies from coming to their fulfillment. And as we can clearly see from that information we read from these prophecies, hey, they're no longer tarrying, they're quickly coming to their fulfillment. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh, the book of Yahweh being the scriptures, which people know as the Old and the New Testament, as well as the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Old Testament, and read, no one of these shall fail, no one of these prophecies shall fail. Every single one of them will come to their fulfillment, and none shall want her mate. There is no book, philosophy, scientific idea, or anything out there that is equal to or can compare to the 144% truth and accuracy of the scriptures. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. But now I'm going to close it out with this quick clip from Dabu77's YouTube channel titled WEF is now predicting catastrophic global cyber attacks in the next 2 years. Better have a plan. And what would be a more easy way to fast track this digital cashless society and reset everything than by a cyber attack that knocks out everything? Banking information, personal information, all that. And then they come with the solution, that order out of chaos. Look, the system's been knocked out by these cyber attacks. You've lost everything. But we have these CBDCs that we've been working on. We can reinstitute your funds and help you build back your life. The only thing is you need to get a C-HIP in you so we can identify who you are and put all your biometric data and your lost but now found banking information back onto it. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this video, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
A Global Security Outlook Report 2023. This is a result of research in collaboration with the forums communities and our partner Accenture, in which we've interviewed and sought input from over 300 executives globally. The most striking finding that we found is that 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders believe that the geopolitical instability makes a catastrophic cyber event likely in the next 2 years.
And there you have one of the World Economic Forum goons coming out and putting the warning out there once again, predicting that there's going to be a catastrophic global cyber attack within the next 2 years. This puts it right up to 2025, the exact window we've been watching and timing out this whole time and getting ready for. So Klaus Schwab came out in this ominous video and told the whole world that the lights could go out, transportation going down, everything. And now here, this guy stepping up, stating what he just said. So they are big time telegraphing a huge global cyber attack that is about to happen. I hope that you were ready. I hope that you're getting prepared, or you could sit there and not and get blindsided by it. You'd have to be a fool to know that these people telegraph their moves knowing they're doing it again and not do nothing. The same ones that locked this place down cold. Are you ready? Because this is going to be the big event. I've been warning you for a decade. You better have a plan for when the lights go out.
Though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come. It will not tarry.
And it's just about that time. We don't have a crystal ball, don't know the exact day. That doesn't matter at this point. You should have...
So with this clip. And so with this video, I hope your sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong, as we can clearly see we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.